Without a shadow of a doubt, Pac-Man is the most iconic video game character of all time. Today he turns 35, originally released on May 22nd, 1980 in Japanese arcades. He appeared in America months later that October. Instead of focusing this video on how he came to be, let's instead track him through time to see how he's evolved. There are around 30 games, so there's not enough time to cover them all. That said, I will do my best to go into some of the weirder genres. So at first, the sequels to Pac-Man were simple palette swaps, like with Miss Pac-Man or Pac-Man Jr. Other sequels tried to expand beyond the original gameplay while keeping the core design. First up, we got Pac-Man Arrangement. More or less, it's kind of like a 16-bit remake of the first one. Of course, there's a little bit more to it, but you know, the graphics are prettier, it's a lot more colorful, the music's a little bit more on the grander scale, but in all intents and purposes, it's Pac-Man. The same can be said for Pac-Mania, though it's a little bit different. It's like Pac-Man was transported into Lego World, and it's more like a maze. Literal maze, where everything is zoomed in and you see Pac-Man going around this big formation, you can't see what's going on. Unlike the other, the original game where you see the whole maze and you can guide him through it. This one is a little bit more obscure, and, both these games are fine. But it wasn't until 2010's Championship Edition DX that I fell in love with Pac-Man once again. This is definitively the best Pac-Man game ever. There's tons of modes. When Pac-Man's about to die, the camera zooms in, it's like a bullet time, and you have a chance to basically use a bomb to make all these things explode, or you could even take a different route so you could like avoid the ghosts. It's so good, trust me, it's a lot of fun. For both new and old players, it's just easy to jump into. But enough on that. Pac-Man was also thrown into a bunch of weirder genres. Genres like Tetris with Pac Attack. I don't really have a lot to say on it. It's just, well, I mean, look at it. It's Pac-Man, but Tetris. You're trying to match the ghost, then you're trying to launch Pac-Man down and to eat the ghost. There you go. We also have a direct sequel, Pac-Man 2: The New Adventures. I wouldn't say a direct sequel, but it's a numbered sequel. This is kind of like a point-and-click adventure game, except you don't really control Pac-Man. What you do is you control a slingshot and you aim this reticle in order to interact with the environment. The goal at first is to get some milk for your baby. So you go, oh, Pac-Man's like, okay, I'll do that. So you're trying to, maybe use an apple to distract somebody, or, you want to hit the dog and then, you'll scare Pac-Man. Or you use the environment to have it so that Pac-Man can sneak past. Use that hay bale there to distract the farmer, and then you're trying to sneak past, but then lo and behold, there's a rake there, so you sideshow bob it. But it's weird, but it actually is very gorgeous for the Super Nintendo. Then we have Pac-Man Pinball, which it's Pac-Man. Putting some kind of weird twist on any kind of game in a pinball expansion is kind of cool. I'm all for Pac-Man spin-offs, or pinball spin-offs, I should say. Pac-and-Roll was a very early DS game, which kind of utilized a lot of what the DS kind of started off with, where you're using the stylus to control the top screen. You're just basically making Pac-Man into a ball and guiding him along this maze. It's fine, but it's not great. So that's just a plethora of random genres that I was dunked into. But of course, he was in a crap ton of platformers as well. The very first game Namco ever made for platforming was Pac-Land. Now, the platformer was huge back then, and instead of making their own, they just, their own new character for the platformer genre. They're like, let's take Pac-Man, he's one of our most iconic characters, let's put him in a platformer. This is going to be huge. And as you can see, it's terrible graphics. I don't know, is he wearing like, I don't know, to me it looks like he's wearing one of those French berets. And then you're avoiding ghosts in airplanes and dodging fire hydrants? How is this anything like Pac-Man? And also, why is he like wincing? It's just, I don't know, it's not very good. I mean, we get some more with Pac in Time, of course, and he's running from evil, and he's more squat and fat. I mean, oh man, he is so fat, and you're just trying to go through these obstacles, and you have like you can shoot from your mouth, and then you also have like this kind of bionic commando Gatling hook kind of thing, and you're searching for treasure. It's, again, not very good, but as a kid I rented it a lot from my local video store just because they didn't really have a lot of Super Nintendo games at that time. There's a ton of Pac-Man World games, and it's, you know, it's their take on the 3D platformer, but of course they added, you know, power pellets, and there's ghosts in here, and you're kind of going through a maze, and there's enemies. I don't know, it's fine, not great. It is what it is. You know, to wrap this all up, Pac-Man is kind of like Sonic. He is steeped in mediocrity, but there are a nice few great games in his list as well. So today, let's celebrate his birthday by playing one of his best games ever. Please, go find the original or Championship Edition DX and play those. Forget about all the weird spin-offs. Again, a lot of them are okay, you know, middling to crap. I would say stay away from the platformers. Maybe some of you have some soft spots for them, like me and Pac in Time, but for the most part, go with the classics or the rebirth of the amazing classic. So please, Bandai Namco, make us another one of those, because I am hankering for Championship DXXX, gonna give it to you, something like that. Whatever. Anyway, happy anniversary, Pac-Man. You deserve it.
Boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, subscribe, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, ba-jack, boom, ba-jack, boom, boom, subscribe.